Hello, everyone. We'll wait for a minute or so for audience to join in, and then we'll be starting in another minute or two. I hope I'm audible to everyone.
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. We'll just give another minute for the audience to join in, and then we shall start. Okay. So, hello everyone, and I would like to welcome you all for the virtual interactive session on efficient product development in challenging times, organized by Publish Industry India in association with Siemens Industry Software. My name is Anvita Pillai. I'm the sub-editor and correspondent at Publish Industry India, and I shall be your host for today. A manufacturing system that relies on high degree of specialization in manufacturing processes along the supply chain creates division within manufacturing between R&D, design activities, and assemblies. Many firms have offshored major parts of their production, but attempted to retain high value production activities such as design and research. This leads to a progressive deterioration of firms' industrial commons and may compromise their ability to create and innovate. Plus, even with all the advances in technology and decades of prototypes to analyze, when it comes to successful product development planning, we still need to know and understand the ways in which we can be highly efficient in product development and manufacturing environment to foster continuous and measurable product and process innovation. Reduced time to market, product and process innovation, reduce time to market and launch products faster, ensure product reliability and establish recognition, manage design complexities, and deliver innovative products in the current challenging time. Given the present phase, it is important to address four significant how questions looming minds of every development specialist regarding how to use new technologies to build smarter products in the current challenging times, how to attain competitive advantages by being future ready machine equipment builders, how to achieve the above two while ensuring on-time delivery of a quality product and at a competitive cost, and finally, how to optimize the total cost ownership. This virtual interactive session on efficient product development in challenging time intends to address these stumbling blocks of product design and development in the present period of crisis. To give a brief on the agenda for today, um, can we have the agenda on screen, please? Okay. So to just give a brief on the agenda for today, we will be beginning with a guest address by Mr. Rajesh Sharma, who is the Director of Manufacturing Excellence at Whirlpool India. This would be followed by a presentation by Mr. Nitin Malvadkar, the Country Technical Manager of Mainstream Engineering at Siemens Industry Software. And finally, a panel discussion on leveraging digitalization in the current challenging times, moderated by Mr. Shekhar Jitkar, who is the Chief Editor at Publish Industry India, with panelists Mr. V. Nagesh, Director of Cosmos Impacts India, Mr. Sanjay Binakia, the Assistant Vice President of Manufacturing at National engineering industries, Mr. Maulik Patel, who's the executive director at Sajanand Laser Technologies, and Mr. Nitin Malvarkar, the country technical manager for mainstream engineering at Siemens Industry Software. Before we begin for today, a couple of instructions for our speakers and our audience. I would request the speakers to keep their mic and video on mute until their names have been announced. Kindly use earphones to ensure audio clarity and to audio clarity during session. And since we would be taking questions from the audience after the end of every session, I would request all the speakers to end their sessions with 2 to 3 minutes at spare for the question and answer. And for our audience, I would request you to type out all the questions that you have for our speakers in the Q&A box below your screen and located at the bottom of your screen. And please refrain from writing questions in the chat box as we might miss out on them. So kindly be careful of typing the questions out in the Q&A box. Also, during the panel discussion, if you have your questions directed to any particular speaker, I would request you to mention their names along with their question. Now, to begin with the sessions for today, I would like to invite on board Mr. Rajesh Sharma, who's the Director of Manufacturing Excellence at Whirlpool India, for his guest address. This would be followed by an audience Q&A, which would be asked to you by Mr. Shekhar Jitkar. So over to you, Mr. Sharma.
Hello, I'm audible?
Yes, you are audible. But your video is not on.
So video, I'm trying to start it, but it's not starting. Let's start my video.
Yeah, now you're visible too.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm not visible to myself.
I think we can see you pretty clearly.
So you can see me clearly.
Right.
I can't see you. Anyway, I can't see myself clearly. So it can be. I think my screen is on. So you can see my screen also, right?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Fine. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Anvita. Thanks a lot.
No problem.
Thanks for the initial introduction that you gave. Thanks for the brief flow that you mentioned right now, how this program will go ahead. So thanks once again, and big namaste to each and every one of you, all the panelists and all the viewers, along with Anvita and Shekhar. Thanks a lot for giving me an opportunity to join this webinar and on a very interesting topic of efficient production development in challenging times. So I started my initial words with the word namaste because this itself is showing that there is a change. Means had this seminar been there about 4 or 5 months back, I would have started with good afternoon, good evening, or good evening, or good morning. But as
sorry to interrupt, Mr. Rajesh, can you share your screen? We are not able to see your presentation.
I have already shared my screen.
I think there was some error there was some network issue in Mr. Sharma's connection. We'll just wait for 2 minutes for Mr. Sharma to come online. We'll just wait for another 5 minutes for Mr. Sharma. He'll be joining us soon. Um, so unfortunately, there is some technical. So unfortunately, there's some technical error at Mr. Rajesh Sharma's in Mr. Rajesh Sharma's office. So he will join us eventually. Meanwhile, we will move on with our next session so that there is no discrepancy in the time. And now I would like to invite Mr. Nitin Malvarkar. He's the country technical manager for mainstream engineering at Siemens Industry Software for his technology presentation. This would again be followed by an audience question and answer that would be directed to you by Mr. Shekhar Juskar. Over to you, Mr. Malvarkar.
Thank you, Anvita.
Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you're audible.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. So good afternoon, all. My name is Nitin Malvarkar. And like Anvita mentioned, I'm working with Siemens as a country technical manager for mainstream engineering. And for today, what I'll be doing is I'll be showcasing how small and medium businesses can actually utilize digitalization for product development. Now, you probably heard a lot about digital transformation and Industry 4.0 technologies and industrial IoT and whatnot, right? And it might seem like a concept or a digital transformation, it applies only for big manufacturers with big factories and especially with big budgets, right? But what if you're not a very large enterprise? What if you have only 1,000 employees or 100 or even just 2? How does digitalization help SMBs like you over here? So I would like to start off by identifying a new trend that we see with the small, medium businesses. We see a key trend impacting manufacturers across different industry sectors. The trend we see now is that the customers are demanding highly customized and connected products. And slowly we can see that this trend is applicable for more products, more complex products as well. Now, as you're aware, over the last 4 to 5 years, a lot of technologies have been identified and are gaining pace. This might be, like I mentioned before, industrial Internet of Things or smart connected homes, electric cars. The first thing that probably comes to your mind when you talk about electric cars is Tesla and the kind of innovation these guys are doing, right? But then if you think about this, all these technologies are powered by electromechanical products in the first place. So that's why you'll see that a lot of manufacturers are moving towards electromechanical products. Thereby, they are adopting electromechanical designs as well. Now, the problem here is that a lot of these industries are actually struggling to design these connected and customizable products in the first place. Another point to keep in mind is that nowadays, these small to medium business manufacturers are actually subject to the same trends which are impacting the global manufacturers as well. In fact, if you think about it, some small manufacturers are often a part of the supply chain of larger OEMs as well. So what exactly are these implications of these trends? Well,
Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, Rajesh here.
Mr. Sharma.
Yeah, so like I was saying, now, as you know, bringing high quality products to market is not easy at all. We have seen a lot of businesses which keep using outdated products for design or validation and even manufacturing processes. Now, the implication of using this outdated products for design and validation is that this result in missed innovation and delaying the product's time to market. Basically, what you're doing is you're providing your competitors an edge altogether. Another issue is that of poor collaboration. You must have seen there's a lot of poor collaboration and communication between various departments within the organization. Now, the implication of this poor collaboration is that the poor quality of the products and ultimately the errors which, are created. Now, these errors end up with a lot of rework on the shop floor. Thereby, it drives up the cost of the product as well. Now, as we have already discussed, the complexity of the products keeps on increasing. Here, a lack of proper integration across various departments can actually slow the product development process altogether, and it can result in a loss of revenue. This can end up causing project budget overruns and as well as poor product quality as well. Now, what you see is the research from TechClarity, which shows the impact of this increasing product complexity along with the key business performance metrics. Now, if you have a look at this includes the time to market, product quality, and missed cost targets as well. Now, as we have already discussed, bringing high quality products to market is not easy. And the ever increasing complexity of products normally, it results in products' time to market being delayed. Now, a lot of times when you're working on new projects, it requires that sometimes you require data from already completed projects. Now, making required changes to this data quickly and integrating it with the current one is the need of the hour that we have. So what are the possibilities that we have? Well, one of the possibilities is to introduce faster and flexible product development processes. Now, these can be based on something known as a digital twin of a product. Now, these digital twins can be enhanced and utilized throughout the entire product life cycle. And this is exactly where we, Siemens, can help you out with. The fact is, the powerful digital technologies for product development have never been more accessible and affordable for small manufacturers. Digitalization is actually leveling the playing field for all businesses, be it your small scale or medium scale or even enterprise businesses. Large scale, in fact, which was once considered to be a competitive advantage, can now actually become a big liability. In fact, smaller companies are in the better position because they can turn around to be more nimble and they can adopt the new technologies faster. So digitalization actually represents a great opportunity for small to medium businesses. So what exactly is this digital transformation I keep on talking about? Simple. For the past decade, Siemens has been trying to keep our customers transform their business. This is with the help of our highly accurate, something known as a digital twin. Now, the value of the digital twin, as you know, is how closely the virtual world meets with the physical world. Now, that is the advantage that we have. Our customers can continuously optimize both product design and production activities with the help of this digital twin. Our customers can actually make confident decisions. Why? Because they can actually see the virtual models before going for production. And because of these virtual models, they can also trust the simulation. One thing which our customers understand is that a true digital twin is not an option, but in fact, it is a necessity. Now, the digital twin of a product can be adopted very early. For example, it can be adopted in the design stage itself. This actually helps engineers to simulate and validate the process early in the design, depending on their requirements. For example, once a design has been created, how do you know whether the product is stable? And is it really intuitive to use? And do the electronics which are operating those products, are they working the way they are supposed to? Well, the digital twin can be used to test and optimize all these parts in advance. Now, this is irrespective of whether you're working on mechanical, you're working on electronics, or even if you're working on electrical or system performance. Now, the same concept of digital twin can be applied for production as well. And this is very important because it involves every aspect of manufacturing. That is, the digital twin can address everything. Like I mentioned, it can address every aspect of manufacturing, from machines and to plant controllers to entire production lines as well. And because of this, if at all an error or a failure occurs, they can be identified and prevented before operation even begins. This helps our customers save time and help them lay the groundwork for mass production. One of the examples of adopting digitalization is Mr. Raj Kumar Armugam from Renaissance Power Products, who started off manufacturing small diesel engines. But then they identified an opportunity. Now, as you're aware, when you talk about agriculture, and especially when it comes to small farms have had no ability to mechanize. All the innovation which normally happened was in terms of equipment was actually meant for large farms. Now, what Mr. Raj did was he conceived a very small and a configurable machine that farmers could use for the entire cycle of agricultural activity. This is from starting in preparing the land to actual farming itself. But then how did he turn that great idea into a successful product? What the company did was they created a digital twin, like I mentioned, of this particular product. And then they utilized this digital twin in the extensive market analysis and for customer validation. So with the help of this twin, they were able to create photorealistic digital renderings, which actually helped them to sell the product before it was even built. Now, thanks to the digital twin, they not only realized that the product could work, but they also realized that customers would actually want to buy it. What gave them the competitive advantage against the competitors was that their ability to leverage these digital tools which were given to them. Here, digital twins gave them the advantage. They helped them in establishing a new market for which they are now a leader. Now, thanks to a digital transformation, they ignited their growth. And now it's a 50 to 100 employee international firm. So that's a commendable achievement from Renaissance Power Products. So before I end, I would like to give all the small, medium businesses a couple of takeaways from this session. First, don't assume that it's not for you, that the digital twin is not for you. You may actually be surprised that a lot of small to medium businesses have already been investing in digital transformation, and they are already experiencing the potential for process and design improvements as well. Also, what we would suggest is don't assume that your firm is too small for transformation. With the kind of competition that you have in the market right now, we suggest it would be better that you adapt. Otherwise, you're liable to be left behind altogether. Another takeaway is test the water. We understand that going all in on a digital transformation is going to be difficult and it's going to be pretty expensive. So that's what we suggest is you consider a test the water approach. What I mean by that is you can slowly allocate your budget and then accordingly devote your staff resources for this digital twin. Now, when we started this presentation talking about the key trend in manufacturing, which can be difficult for small, medium businesses to manage. Now, our message is very simple. Don't try to reduce complexity because honestly, it's not going to go away at all. We actually, as Siemens, provide you all the solutions that can help you to make the decisions with confidence. Not only that, we can give you all the solutions that can help you move faster, reduce cost, and create new business models as well. And with that, I'm done with my presentation and I'm open to any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Malvadkar, for that session. And you very rightly stated that digital twin is no longer an option, but a requirement to easily test and optimize parts in advance. And digital twin also offers immense potential for small and medium businesses, just like it has for big organizations. Now, I would like to ask Mr. Jitkar to, ask whatever questions were directed to Mr. Malvadkar. Over to you, Mr. Jitkar.
Yeah, Mr. Malvadkar, there is one question. How electrical or electronic components can be tested by digital twin?
Perfect. We have a fantastic question over here. So when you talk about electrical, when you talk about electronics, people think, okay, this digital twin is actually meant only for mechanical. But then in terms of electrical, it plays a big significant part as well. So let's say, for example, an electrical designer has created a circuit. It might be a 3-phase or it might be a single-phase circuit that he's working on. Now, what they can do is they can actually test or they can actually simulate the passage of voltage or current through those particular wires. Now, if you do that, there are two things they can check if they are able to do the simulation. First thing, they're able to see whether the circuit that the electrical designers or the electronic designers have created is actually working properly the way it's supposed to. Second, they can also see what is the voltage drop. So let's say, for example, there are two components which are connected and there's a voltage drop. So with the use of this digital twin, they will be able to identify where the voltage drop is happening and accordingly make the required changes in the design before they send it out for production. I hope that answers the question.
Yes. Okay. The second question is, you just mentioned that its adaptability is quite better in SMBs because they don't have much of the big organization support and all. So, but that's the advantage there. But they also have the disadvantage of the budget or the skilled manpower. So, how do you resolve that?
That's exactly why we are saying that. If you mentioned, if you have a look at my key takeaways, what we are saying is there's no point in going all inside the digital transformation. That's why we suggest test the water. What we suggest is basically choose what is the issue that is affecting your company the most as of now, and accordingly adapt or utilize the solution which can help you address this issue. And then if you're comfortable with it, once the solution has addressed that particular issue, then you can step up.
Okay. Okay. Next question is, can complex components like ECU, engine control unit, can be tested by digital twin?
Absolutely. We have multiple solutions under the Siemens portfolio of solutions which do exactly this. So yes, it can be tested by digital twins as well.
Okay. Fine. That's it.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Malwadkar. Thank you, Mr. Chitkar. Now, I would like to re-invite Mr. Rajesh Sharma onto the webinar to continue with the session, which got interrupted due to the technical error. Mr. Sharma, can you switch on your camera and mic? Yes, we can see you.
Can you see me now?
Yes,
can you
yes.
hear?
Yes, you're pretty audible.
Well, this is the new normal now. So extremely sorry. Something that is beyond my hands. So there was a power failure at my organization, and it is still there. So I have joined with the help of my mobile device. So hope it will take me through this session. So thanks once again. It was very interesting, Mr. Nitin. It was a good session from your side. Quite informative. 2-3 key takeaways that you told related to flexibility and related to complexity. It's very nice. So maybe sometimes later we'll connect on this. So, and apologies to all the audiences and all the panelists once again. So I'm starting once again my short conversation that I want to convey from my side to all of you so that we can mutually understand each other and mutually we can learn and learn each other. Can you see my screen now? I've projected my screen.
It's yet to start.
It's yet to start.
Yep.
Well, this is again a new set of issues of late that we have started getting. And this is very much normal. Since last 4 months, this thing happens in our regular meetings also. And it's something that has got to evolve more with coming times.
Can you try resharing your screen because still there is nothing on the screen? Yes.
There?
Yes, it is started.
Okay. And for the sake of the bandwidth, I beg your pardon. Can I take your permission to switch off my video so that it will help me, or in fact, it will help the complete system in going smoothly?
Sure, Mr. Sharma, not a problem.
So let me continue with my voice. You have seen my face, so I'm there before you. So now you can certainly switch out the video from your side. If you can do it. Yeah. So I'm just starting from my end. I'm extremely sorry once again. A little bit of glitch that was there, but it is, I hope that you all are understanding my situation. So let's go ahead. So as the topic of today's webinar, efficient production development in challenging times. So rightly worded, and a thing that across all the industries, cutting across products that industries are making, this has become one of the most challenging aspects, most talked about things that is going around in the boardrooms. And when I got the invitation from this side from Mr. Sekhar, I think I made sure that I should join in this session so that something from my end I can deliver something from the team end, I can take it as a carry forward, and mutually we should benefit with each other. So before moving, very brief introduction about myself. My name is Rajesh Sharma. Have nearly about 25 years of experience in the area of operations, managing projects, and in leadership. Presently, I am heading the manufacturing excellence section of Whirlpool Asia. And in past, I have been working with Honda Cars and Fiat. So predominantly, I had been an operation person, major experience in the area of automobile, now into consumer durables. So I think we all are living in a time which are a completely new experience for all of us. 4 months has been a really challenging time, not only for me, but for in fact everyone who are there today in this forum, and for the people around the world, around the industries. So this topic very efficiently and adaptively, it focuses on things which will ultimately correlate itself with the new things that is there today, the times that we are spending today, with what we are doing. And due to this change in the times that is there, how we have to adapt ourselves, what we have been doing till now, in what way we need to change ourselves so that we do our activities either in manufacturing or in product development with a little bit of difference, and which is very much essential, which is very much required. If we don't do it, or if we lag at any area, certainly there will be huge amount of laggingness that will come into any of the industries who are associated with it. So let me go through the challenging time, the time that we are saying is challenging. What exactly is this challenging time? Till October or November, if I see, no one anticipated that a new pandemic is going to strike our world, our country, our industry, our home, in fact, each one of us. So this was, there are lots of analysts everywhere, but somehow no one were able to ultimately identify something very big of this nature is going to come. Lockdown. Due to this is another topic, another area we came to know, we came to understand in a very deep way the meaning, what exactly it stands. We have been having strikes which used to last 1 day, 2 days, but that never affected our life. But this lockdown of 1 month, 2 months, it really affected us in a way that we all have started learning, adapting, and finding new solution how to overcome this activity. Social distancing. This is another aspect that has come up, and we have started understanding it. And this has come in such a fast way that we all have really put huge amount of effort into our area of work, which has ultimately resulted in starting up our activities with the help of all the countermeasures that were required to be taken to mitigate this big activity. Contacts, minimum contacts. We used to work freely. We used to talk freely. We used to use meeting rooms. We used to travel together. But now this pandemic has really compelled us to think about the amount of contact that we need to maintain. So this also becomes a very big amount of key takeaways for designers, for manufacturers to take into account when they do things, plan things in the area of manufacturing, or it is in the area of product development. And along with all these things, one important thing that has really come up in a very big way is the health management part. Why I'm saying health management is that means we have seen people who was affected by this COVID-19, but due to the effect of this COVID-19, some got positive, but there has been a huge amount of people who were also affected as they were close to them, and as a result, they had to be put into quarantine list. So industries across all the areas, all the region, they are grappling with this new issue where the whole plant is in a time where all the peoples are not there, and due to which the production, the activities, they are getting affected. So this has come up in a very, very big way. So these are the 5 main things. I hope that you all will agree to me, because you all have been a party to this, and you all can understand this thing has affected in our life, not only in our area, this is across the world, this is across countries, and this is across industries. So what are the 3 main things that is coming out from here? The first thing, what we feel is that due to all these things, how will the world change so that they can incorporate and inculcate all these new challenges in their future activities? Coming to industries, how will industry change because of all these things? Because this is not the first and this is not the last. Coming times, maybe you will be facing a lot more such type of situations where it can be better than this, or it can be more worse than this also. So we as an industry, we have to adapt ourselves or think ourselves in such a way that we do things keeping all these things in mind. And the third important question is, ultimately, apart from industry, it is we. How are we going to change ourselves so that we should continue doing our work apart from all these things happening in front of us? So, in a nutshell, this last 4 months of shutdown, this last 4 months of COVID-19 has given us a good amount of experience, at the same time, a will and a commitment to think in a way where we can survive, keeping all these things in mind, but with a more aggressive and an innovative way. Going forward, due to these challenges, what are the new big thrusts that are coming up, that are getting discussed at various forums across borders, at government level, at the world level? If I see at India level, Atmanirbhar Bharat. So this has given this voice a more prominent voice. Now, due to the various complexity that has arisen due to this activity, this has become a very strong voice, where from the government side, there is a thrust that now we need to do business which should be self-sufficient. We are in a position to do it, rather than we getting dependent on some other countries, other areas to support us to complete this, our activities. Because till now, all the industries across all the various product manufacturers, a high amount of dependency were there on countries, on technologies, which was not there at our end, but at some other place. And as a result, there are very strong message that is going to come from the government in the area of tax regime, where we as an industry will be compelled to think how to start thinking all this product which we are importing it from some other country, how we can make it within our country. So this will help us become self-sufficient, Atmanirbhar Bharat. The second change that is coming out of this new pandemic is the change in the mode of supply chain. Supply chain becomes the backbone of any industry. So today, predominantly all the industry that is there, they are highly dependent on China. Going forward, as we had seen huge disruptions in supply chain due to the products or parts coming from China, certainly the time has come where industry needs to think what is there going to be beyond China. China, we cannot eliminate it at one go. It will take some time. So industry has to start thinking China plus one. Getting product from China, but at the same time, some other source is required to be developed. It can be in-house within India, it can be some other country. So this is a second big change that is coming into the thought process of industries. Safety and hygiene. We all have been doing lots of risk analysis within the organization. And if I see till now, we had been doing risk analysis predominantly from the side of safety part. But now hygiene will become a very important part of that, because hygiene is very closely related to the workplace, the person who are working in that workplace. And if we don't do the proper risk analysis today, we will miss out at something which can lead to a big amount of stoppages in our operations. So hygiene will become a very important part of risk analysis along with safety. This pandemic has again given us an indication that we need to become Atmanirbhar, not only for ourselves, but there is a huge opportunity that is there in the market outside where we can cater. And for that, we need to go cost effective, at the same time, high reliability. So we as a manufacturer, industries across India, they need to start thinking how we can tap this market. And these things has really come up very strongly due to this pandemic that we have seen, even though it is not closed, but still lots of thought processes has started going. And then there are lots of new regulation that will start coming up. This is just the starting. We expect that lots of regulation will be there from the side of the government, which we will have to inculcate into our thought process. It will go into our manufacturing operations and the design part, which we'll have to take care very strongly. So from here, the main important points that comes into the forefront is the component development. So today, for any parts, any finished product that we make, the amount of component today that we are totally dependent on some other country, and especially from China, it constitutes nearly about 60 to 70% of the total component. So we are so much complacent because we are sure that this part is there in China. We can very readily take from China and we can make our finished product. But going forward, certainly we will have to think again, is that going to be possible in coming 1 year or 2 years? Big question mark. So this is the area, another area where people have started thinking a lot. How will the industry develop it? Because it has to be developed very soon, very fast. So this is another thought process that is going. But at the same time, to do all these things, there will be a surge of human resource requirement. Today, as things are coming out from outside, certainly skill part is one area which is getting catered by those countries or those industry which is sending us the component. But when we are going to start making things in-house, which requires huge amount of mind, huge amount of technical thinking, analytical skill, human resource will become a very big challenge, which we in the industry feel today. So if I see, even though the pandemic is not yet completed, it is still going on. We are simply praying that it should close as soon as possible. But what are the major things that is going to change post this pandemic goes away? Even though things have started shaping up, I've been discussing with lots of my friends across industry. I've been discussing with other industrial forums also. And from all these things, the main points that comes out today is, one is going forward, whatever we think, whatever we design, whatever we make, certainly a big amount and a very strong focus will be there in the area of health and safety of the workforce. This was there initially also, earlier also, but now the focus, the present focus, it will change. It will be given more prominent, it will be given more voice. The focus will now really shift to our design side, and the requirement of the focus to shift towards design side is basically to reduce the complexity that arises today, at the same time increase the flexibility of the operations. So this will also gain a huge amount of impetus going forward, because till now when things were done, there were no foundation. But now when we will be doing the operations, there are so many foundations that we will have to follow. The social distancing within the shop floor, the social distancing at the operations, the person who is working over there, masking, unmasking, all those things will now take a very strong role play. So this will require our products to be made with minimum complexity, at the same time with very high flexibility. And this can only be catered with the help of robust design. Manufacturing excellence will now play a very big role over here. By manufacturing excellence, I mean to say how the people are going to think about increasing the operational efficiency, how the management tools are going to be adapted across the operations. So this area will get a huge amount of focus, and with their very concrete focused approach, you will see lots of industries going into this activity very aggressively. And last of all, we will get to see into product features which till now we have not been seeing. So again, here design will play a very important role. They will start thinking, taking the voice of the customer and try to input it into the product of various areas, so that people get comfort, people feel safe to use. At the same time, they feel it's totally hygienic also, it's totally meeting their requirement also. So these are the 4 areas where we feel that now all the industries, they will really play a very important focus towards their development activities, so that their manufacturing operations will go for a change. Now, going for what are the things at my organization, if I have to give you some example, what we have tried to do, what we have tried to learn from this times, very one strong area where I can give a good example is taking the advantage of the requirement of the needs today, where germs, bacteria are highly talked about. Our designers, our product planners, and our marketing, they have come up with a product which really caters to this section. So we have designed a washing machine which we are guaranteeing, with the help of inbuilt heater that is there inside it, it is going to kill the germs. So this was not there, or in fact this it would have not come had this pandemic would have not been there. But this has really led our product planner to think in a way where how people can at home.
Mr.
Yes?
Sharma, I am so sorry to interrupt you. Actually, we are running a little short on time.
Only 1 minute.
Yeah, sure.
On the verge.
All right. Thank you.
So this is on the area of product. And then in the area of process and manufacturing, the 3 areas that we are taking a huge challenge and decision is: 1, increase automation in our process and quality. As Mr. Nitin talked about digital twin, this is a very strong tool which we have taken into our strategy, and we are going in a big way to adapt this strong tool, which will ultimately lead to robust product and the process design both. And the 3rd area where we are going to work upon is traceability at a very higher end, because we want traceability. Our product, when it goes into the customer, it should be such that by sitting at my office, I am able to see what exactly that machine is doing, which today we are not in a position to do. So these are some initiatives that we have planned in our organization. I hope that across all organization industry, they are thinking in a completely different way, which will ultimately take their business to their next level. So this was all from my side, what I had to share. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I know the time was very short. It's a huge and wonderful topic. Maybe some other times we'll have a more detailed discussion on that. Thank you.
Mr. Sharma, I would ask you to stay online for 2 minutes. It was a great explanation on the challenging times and a very positive outlook on how the COVID period has made us more resilient to the challenges. And also, you very aptly put that, we cannot entirely eliminate China, and we need to start thinking China plus one. And the concept of health and safety needs to play out in the product design and development. I would like to invite Mr. Jitkar to just come and ask all the questions which have been directed to Mr. Sharma. Mr. Jitkar?
Yes. Mr. Sharma, that was quite enlightening presentation, starting from the basics and putting the 360-degree view of the whole situation and then coming to the conclusion. It was fantastic. Okay, there are a couple of questions. Do you think this Make in India program has got little setback because of this pandemic?
I will say that it has helped it rather than getting it has gone for a setback. In fact, we had lots of interaction with the government bodies, and there the government is coming up in a very aggressive way. Very soon you will get to know and hear all the new initiatives that government is going to adapt into this. So this is not a setback, rather it has augmented to incorporate more better things into this strategy.
Okay. Yeah, then again, one more question. Because of this pandemic, there has been a lot of attention, people's attention has gone to the safety, the health, and the overall business scenario, and keeping your operations intact, not affected by the pandemic. So this digitalization drive has been going on even before the pandemic. There was a lot of initiatives before that. So do you think this attention on the digitalization or a lot of adoption of advanced technologies has again taken a back foot because of this, because of so many other activities people need to give their attention to?
No, it has not been a backward. In fact, it has given us a new area where we can we can adopt this digital technology. So there were some areas which initially we never thought about. We were more concentrated in a local area where we were finding that we need to have some cost benefit out of that. But now, apart from that cost benefit, now we are thinking about how this initiative can help in the safety of our workmen, how it can give more better hygiene to our workforce. So this we have started thinking now, which I will say that before this, it was there, but it was not there so forcefully.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Segar. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Sharma.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Sharma. And now for the last session for today, the panel discussion on leveraging digitalization in the current challenging times. I would like to call upon firstly our moderator, Mr. Shekhar Jitkar, and our panelist, Mr. V. Nagesh, the Director of Cosmos Impacts India, Mr. Sanjay Binayaka, the Assistant Vice President of Manufacturing at National Engineering Industries, Mr. Maulik Patel, the Executive Director at Sarjan Laser Tech Limited, and Mr. Nitin Malvadkar, the Country Technical Manager for Mainstream Engineering, Siemens Industry Software. Over to you, Mr. Jitkar.
I think.
Mr. Jitkar, you're on mute.
Am I audible now?
Yes, and Mr. Patel is also on mute. I would request Mr. Patel to unmute his.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Hope you all are doing well and taking good care of yourself.
Yeah.
It's my pleasure to moderate today's panel discussion on a very interesting topic in today's situation. And I would like to personally thank Siemens Industry Software, Danish and Nitin Malvadkar, and each of the speakers for their participation in the session today. So with COVID-19 evolving at a very unprecedented speed and scale, even today, all over India, the manufacturing companies are grappling with its immediate impact as both their production and supply chain operations are heavily disrupted. And with the economic uncertainty, the COVID-19 pandemic has further added a layer of complexity to this challenging environment. So in this scenario, adjusting operations in real time calls for a new approach to everything we do. So be it the products we design, be it the products we manufacture, the processes we use, the safety measures we follow, the technologies which we deploy, and the way we respond to the market requirements, the way we communicate, and most importantly, the manner we manage our workforce in the current situation. So I feel, as Mr. Sharma also mentioned, the technologies will dominate the future of manufacturing. We will experience a paradigm shift from factory-bound to interconnected devices, then hypothesis-driven to data-driven, less waste to no waste manufacturing. So this new era will be marked by extremely agile organizations because of the advanced technologies, for example, digitalization, as they will connect human skills and machinery to deliver the extremely customized products to the market. So the customization will definitely increase in a big way in the coming days or coming months. So in today's panel discussion, we'll deliberate on this topic of leveraging digitalization and how it will help in the efficient product development in the current challenging times. So with this, I will start with the first question to Mr. Sanjay. So how can Indian manufacturing organizations be better prepared while restarting manufacturing operations with the constraint of a lot of constraint like social distancing, a number of people, lesser number of people on the job, then safety norms, supply chain disruptions, and most importantly, the cost reduction pressure. So what should be the short-term measures to ensure continuity of the business and long-term strategies fueled by the business boosters to secure the future? Mr. Sanjay.
So thank you very much, Shikhar. And you rightly said the post-COVID situation, and Rajesh has already very well explained what are the challenges. So I repeat what Rajesh has said, that employee safety is utmost important. Maintaining social distance, sanitization of plant is key challenge. And I think we need to work very, very strict compliance on that. And the best way is to, first you need to maintain the process and then keep the things in place. And also in our organization, this is what we are doing, multi-layer audits. This is very, very important. You need to find out the gap and risk analysis also. And the second thing is the flexibility, because customer demands are changing, supply chain disruptions are there. So your system should be so agile to adopt those changes. So flexibility in the system has to be generated. And the shift is required from cutting fixed cost to make it more variable cost. And also technology and innovation. So this is a new way of working. So we need to work more on workstation design, particularly in the case of assemblies where a lot of manpower is there. So we need to redesign the workstation in order to maintain social distancing, and also how we can run the process with lean in terms of material and manpower both. So after this COVID situation, productivity as well as productivity of both human being as well as this equipment has also become very, very important. So digitization is very, very important key, and also we need to focus on low cost automation, because just for the sake of digitization, we cannot take it forward. And also this automation, sometimes, return on investment is not there and business case is not feasible. So think has to be, we need to think how we can make it cost effective, and thereby we can reduce the manpower, dependency of manpower, and also how can we reduce the skill of operator by more digitization using AI and other technologies. So thereby efficiency and productivity is the key, and this we need to have very focused approach by involvement of all stakeholders, and across the company we need to give a very clear message that this is need of the time, and it is emergency situation for all organization, manufacturing system, in terms of safety, in terms of cost control, in terms of productivity. So the messaging, communication, and allowing people to participate in generating ideas is very, very important. And how we need to put a structure also, that how we can take it forward. Mm-hmm. So I think this is very much required. Mm-hmm. That's all I can say.
Correct. Very practical thoughts. So I will move to Mr. Nagesh now. So what do you say about the current manufacturing operations? How do the manufacturers can ensure the continuity of the business with the current restrictions?
Yeah, see, I thank you very much, Mr. Shekhar, and hello to everybody. See, of course, Sanjay ji has really given the whole gist of things as such, what most companies should do and would already might be doing. But I would like to add one very, very important thing when I was looking at our organization. So, we need to understand that all our departments, all are interconnected. They're working as a team. And normally, most of the organizations, they have set their departments into that. Every department is separate. It is, they sit together, they work together in separate units. So I think this is one thing that we really need to, it's a word of caution or something leaders have to think about, because in case we are always doing everything to prevent COVID or prevent this kind of situation to happen within an organization, but for sure there's one day it can always happen, and because it's in spite of all the care that people are taking, and if it hits one department, we all know the whole chain is going to get disrupted. So this is a very, very important thing which came in when we were doing our audits. And I would feel that we have to make a strategic call that during this time, we have to take into consideration that there is going to be a COVID effect in our organization, in some of the other department. So I would say better to split it into functionally two different groups and try to seat your people, put people together in such kind of formations that even if any one person is hit by it, at least a part, at least 50% or 70% of our teams can still function, because as management, we cannot talk to our teams that, in spite, we cannot keep the continuance of people joining work in spite of a colleague being tested positive. So I think this kind of care, I think, is one extra thing that I would like to add what Mr. Sanjay has already said.
Right. Yeah, that's quite very real-time observations you made. So from this operation conditions, we now move on to the technology part. So I will ask this question to Mr. Maulik. So what would be the role of emerging technologies such as digitalization, which we are talking about now, going forward in continuing the business with the same efficiency and profitability as earlier? And what should be the approach towards deployment of these advanced technologies in the current situation, so as to make the smart change in manufacturing to build smarter products in synchronization with the market demands, because that's very important in the current situation.
Yeah. Thank you, Shekhar, and thank you, everyone, and good afternoon. So yeah, of course, because of this COVID situation, there has been a lot of changes which has happened. So there has to be digital transformation, which is undoubtedly true. I mean, every individual organization has to accept. Just on an anecdote side, that when the pandemic happened or the lockdown happened, the first thing my company realized that all those people who were not understanding or not knowing how to use webinars, somebody asked me that what was that one thing which your organization learned while because of this lockdown? I said webinars. So nobody used to be in webinars, but they started doing it.
Yes.
Apart from now talking on the plant side, of course, the whole plant, there is a new term which is called Industry 4.0 or smart connected manufacturing is a real the way to go forward. Today, organizations have the technology, the hardware, the software, the people with knowledge available to really implement some really good technologies. So COVID-19 or this pandemic is a kind of a wake-up call to adopt Industry 4.0, which I think we did a seminar last year also. But now, because of this pandemic, it's like necessity is the mother of invention. Mm-hmm. Same way, there is going to be a less resistance. And yes, I would say that, there has to be digitization. How we adopted digitization is like, making sure that, whatever are the manual tasks which were happening, like, like, a lot of checklists or production points. We made it digitized. So all those, anything, so we had a motto in our company to go paperless. Okay, so that is the first step which we did, for digitization. Second, of course, as a company, we are a technology company, so we are adopting and developing. I won't say adopting, but we are developing Industry 4.0 solutions for our customers and also for ourselves, where as a company, we have track and trace kind of a solutions for supply chain from raw material to finished good, where lasers are being used, and also for health monitoring of machines and stuff, where it's called smart manufacturing or Industry 4.0. So on both aspects, digitization within the company, where to go paperless, and then also on the manufacturing side. So we are doing on the both side.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I will come to Mr. Nitin now. So do you think this approach towards adoption of digitalization technologies or any other such smart technologies have changed because of this pandemic, what it was earlier? Because there was a quite huge drive towards digitalization. But now, as Mr. Maulik rightly mentioned, that the resistance to adopt to new technologies has now come down. So what do you think, how the approach has changed over the last 4 months?
All right. You know what? We actually think that digitalization is actually the future. Now,
yes.
With the last COVID period, right, we have actually witnessed physical delivery chain being disrupted all over. Logistics were it was a nightmare altogether.
Mm-hmm.
We believe that organizations now don't have a choice at all. Not only do they need to survive, but they actually need to grow as well. And with all the changing dynamics around us, and effective globally as well, we need to either fall in or we need to fall out. So this is why we feel that the need of the hour as of now is collaboration, right? Because with a lot of people working from home, as you're aware, there are a lot of people working from home. So virtual collaboration is going to play a very, very important role in ensuring the continuity completely, right? So, I mean, the fear of repetition, I mean, I think we have already said this, but I must say that we have shared the need of collaborate of all the SMBs a couple of years back itself. Like you mentioned, we are trying to push in that digitalization a couple of years back. But I think it's absolute time to actually embrace the change. It's not that we didn't have any solutions that were ready, but then they were always available. It's time for the SMBs to actually identify and adopt those changes.
Right. Yeah, I will continue with you only. So if there is no choice for manufacturers but to go for digitalization, there is specific question bound to happen, that how do you address the questions such as how relevant this new technology is for me, for my kind of business or for my kind of applications, or what is there in it for me to ensure the exact ROI in the current challenging times?
You know what, if this actually question is coming from an organization, then the organization can be assumed that it is already late. It's pretty late. Anyways, we urge organizations to explore the available solutions in the market. To actively reach out and find out more. We have multiple user communities online. You can find multiple data online. So we urge all the organizations to go online, find all the data which is relevant to how is it relevant for me and how is it going to help me. Now, as you mentioned, for every organization, all discussions boil down to ROI. And we have to strive to look at the enhancing or optimizing the ROI first. But then the question would be, how can we optimize? The answer, I think, can be in terms of, integrating innovation with your business. That is the first part. By being faster to the market, by optimizing your ideas from ideation to utilization. Then also reduce your product development time by using current new solutions, not the outdated solutions of 3-4 years back, because as you know, technology keeps on changing on a daily basis. Also, you can reduce the manufacturing time. You can put more pressure or more stress on making the designer productive. These can be some of the parameters, I think, for the question that we started with: how relevant is a new technology for my business, for my kind of business?
Okay. Yeah, Mr. Nagesh, do you want to add anything on that about the selection of the right technology for the application which you need?
Yeah, see, the selection of right technology, or we are talking about this particular, how do you address the question, how relevant is new technology?
Yeah, how do you address the exact pain points of
See, it's basically like this, sir. What happens is, see, what is every industry looking for? They're trying to increase their efficiency, and they're trying to increase their profitability. So they're trying to increase productivity. That's how they are going to get their profitability. So I think so it's relevant to every industry. So if if anybody, whoever is in question, he writes down what are his pain points, what are the points which are really affecting him, and if he really has a chat, or he dwells into the digital world of things and what we are talking in terms of digitization. So I would feel that most of the pain points that are there in present terms, when we have seen this situation, one of the major thing is flexibility. One is flexibility. Another very major thing where you get flexibility, if you have clear visibility, timely alerts. So these are normally many, because when we talk to people within even our own organization, so if we have to be, what we need is flexibility at this moment, so that we can, you can tone down, kick up, keep changing things fast. That's what, as you said, very agile organization. So that is what everybody needs. So I think digitization, if you go into depth, will just provide you all the tools that can, do this, help you to become very flexible and very transparent and very, so, if they ask these questions, they first write down their pain points and start talking and dwelling into the arena of digital transformation. I'm sure that there is no other way to go. I think it is, so, and finally it is going to drive their profits, not only right now, because now already profits are under pressure, because last 1 year has been bad, and now COVID really hit very hard. So I think, yeah, it's so hard. So I think that's the situation. So I feel that the answers are very easy to get, but only they should have an open mind and get into a conversation with the people who are in the field and who can really help them. And I'm sure that they will be convinced. That's what my feeling is.
Yeah, that's what Mr. Nitin also mentioned about the collaborative efforts towards this direction. That will really help to understand the pain points and accordingly addressing the problems with the right technology for your particular application. Right. Okay. So now, after discussing about the manufacturing conditions or operating conditions and the technology part, the approach to new technology, and then how relevant the technology is for me. So now it becomes more important to just deliberate on the leader's approach, the business leader's approach towards the current situation, and also how to take everybody along in terms of the strategies of the organization, in terms of getting into the new digitalization drive. So I'll ask this question to Mr. Sanjay. So the transition to this new normal in the manufacturing plants will require both the business leaders as well as the frontline teams to develop new capabilities and skills. So how to take care of this training and skill development or skill upgradation, you can say, a lot of things to learn and unlearn in the current scenario, so as to accelerate this capability building process and adjust the operations in real time with the required productivity levels.
Yeah. So very rightly said. And so here, the change management is very, very important, and the role of leadership is to drive that change. And in one of the conversations, I heard that now the resistance to the change has reduced because of this COVID-19 situation, because now survival is at stake and a lot of challenges are there. So just to overcome that resistance, I think the best way is to leadership is to ensure participation of all. And as Nagesh rightly said, that we need to involve all stakeholders, and the important processes to make right gap analysis. And either you do value stream mapping or whatever it is, then you will find two things. One, there are certain gaps which required only process improvement without any digital intervention. And the second is something which required digital intervention. So digital intervention as well as process changes will go hand on hand. and that will give the best result. If your process is not in place and you go directly with digitization, that probably will not be the right solution. So I think the role of leadership is to drive both the things simultaneously, making all stakeholders to responsible on process improvement as well as right selection of digitization solutions, and also need to create proof of concept. Small steps need to be taken where further you can scale up on basis of what is the ROI and what is the feasibility. And also you need to create across the organization 3, 4, 5 good use cases where you have high return and the visibilities are very, very clear and the success is very, very clear. I think that will drive the whole organization in different direction. And of course, taking all this in forward, agility is very, very important, and how quickly you adopt it and how quickly you drive it is very, very important. And there will be some issues, there will be some failures. I think leadership team is to continuously monitor, having reviews, and taking team forward is the key thing which a leadership team should do.
Right. Yeah, Mr. Maulik, you have any observations or comments from your organization in this, taking all people along with you towards the new strategies for the company's business?
Yeah, post lockdown, the first step what we did as a manufacturing organization, we focused on making sure that whatever are the departments, we tried to merge couple of roles. We had to train couple of people in cross-functional where SLT has imparted. So we as a company have imparted almost 40 hours of training. So we plan to do reskilling and upskilling of people in the last 3 months. So wherever there were departments or individuals who are actually working only for one particular task, we made them more of multitasking. And that's what is going to be the new normal for SLTL, that there has to be a multitasking approach. And training plans has been comprehensively covered, also on the health and safety processes, and has been formally documented to make sure that every individual in the organization is aware about the procedures and process, that this is how the new normal. And as Mr. Nagesh rightly said, that nobody is going to get this, nobody is going to escape from this. Maybe you are a couple of days behind that, but in some day could be. But yeah, so a major thing is the training aspect. So we have specifically emphasized on the training aspect for this current scenario.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, training is very, very important in this scenario, and a lot of things the people need to learn, unlearn, or skill and reskill or skill upgrade their skills on the new technologies, on the new best practices, on the new operating strategies. So everything has to be collated, and the business leader has to take that approach so that the things will be transparent and everybody will be on the same page. So with this now, I will come to the last question, which I would like everyone to just answer in brief. That what should be the next step? That what kind of changes manufacturing industry and manufacturers can anticipate going further, and what kind of strategy and approach the industry should think of to respond to these changes and remain competitive at the same time? Because I'm sure today what the manufacturing conditions are, tomorrow it might be different. After 1 year, it might be something else coming up. So how can we make ourselves very synchronize with the market conditions and synchronize with the demand, synchronize with the whatever effects in the markets are happening in terms of demands, in terms of operations, supply chain, production, design, everything. So what kind of changes we can anticipate going further, and what kind of strategy and approach the manufacturing industry should have? So I will start with Mr. Nagesh.
Yes, absolutely. It's more or less like I would say that to this kind of uncertain times, once again I feel is what I already said. It would be a bit of a repetition, so I would not dwell on it too much. That is basically it is flexibility. See, we want flexibility. We want to see everything in real time happening, so we can make quick decisions. So we have to enable all our systems and our processes and our people. We can all come on one platform. I would what we are seeing is something like we should have a factory cockpit, a manufacturing cockpit. That's one place where all the systems, as a pilot of that organization, you can all see it, and so that at a very and which are well calibrated, so that at any point in time, whenever you want to take a decision, the decisions don't need to wait too long, because it's only the speed of decision making which is going to make the difference to fight this situation and get out of it very successfully. So I think that will be the main thing. And another one concept that what we have been thinking about, because we make equipment. So we come with because of digitalization, what we see today. So we come with a concept where we say that, the equipment that we make is hardware, and what we build around it is the software. And it's with the software that we connect to our customers. And it's the software which creates, the ease of the customer to answer to all his difficulties. So this equipment, along with the software, which we can package it, would really create profit for the customer. So this is what we are thinking as in terms of equipment that we develop. It should we should not end with the equipment anymore. Of course, after Industry 4.0, it has become customary that we should look at further than that. But the whole thing, that's the user experience, the UI that he will be able to get with that equipment, the user interface with the equipment, and make him, self-learning, self-diagnostic, self-checking, so a lot of things. So this is what I would think that if we can do, we can really reach very close to, in these times, we will be able to, when the pie is shrinking, or even if the pie is becoming bigger, we will be able to keep our brand and our place in the marketplace, and we can keep still surviving and be able to handle this kind of situation.
Right, very well said. Mr. Sanjay?
Yeah, so all I can say is integrated supply chain through digitization, real-time data, which is changing the approach of manufacturing from reactive to proactive. And the third is database decision. I think on the basis of that, improvement in efficiencies as well as reduction in wastages will drive your profitability, and also dependency on man skill is key thing which need to be taken forward. I think this is the future requirement and will drive the manufacturing.
Okay. Mr. Mowali?
Yes, Mr. Sanjay said that every organization has to, and we also have adopted more of a database decision. And of course, there were we as a company, we are planning 5 years down the line to 1 year down the line. But a lot of changes are happening. So there is more of a quarterly plans which have been created rather than a yearly plan. So there are certain modifications, and yes, as I said, on the upskilling and reskilling. So a lot of tools utilization has been in process, and that is how the next industry step we look forward to.
Okay. Yeah, Mr. Nitin, like all other panelists said, that we have to be future ready, we have to be flexible and agile with lots of the current situation taken into consideration. So what do you think, what would be the recommendations from your side to make the organizations more flexible, agile, and they should be good enough to face such kind of uncertain market demands and have a better effective product development program to in sync with the market conditions?
Right. It's pretty much, what I said before itself. So there are two things which come into mind. The first one is we need to be more collaborative. That is the first part. And the second one is we need to adopt digitalization as soon as possible. Now, we need to be clear as to, what solution we are seeking. And whatever solution that we seek, it should not be a rigid solution. For example, if I buy it today and after 2 years, if it's obsolete, it's absolutely of no use for us. right? So it should be like, if my organization grows, so does my solution. So scalability is a big factor over here for any solution that you go for. And the capabilities of the solution should also grow. I believe that, the parameters of success should define the solution that you choose. What challenges you're facing now and what challenges you may be facing in 2 years down the line, it would make sense to accordingly choose the solution.
Right. Correct. Okay. Thank you all for your very interesting and insightful thoughts to make the panel discussion not just interesting, but very useful and practical thoughts which you shared with us. I'm sure the audience will have a lot of value from this to help them to just overcome the current situation. So I have a few questions for you. Yeah, there is one question. In this challenging situation, the main challenge is people losing job, and then it's important to keep people engaged all the time. So is it really necessary to go into digitalization so quickly and just reduce the manpower? Anybody would like to answer? Mr. Maulik?
The digitization is definitely important. I mean, there's no way that
because people have the assumption or probably the misassumption, I can say, that digitalization will make organization reduce the number of people.
See, just to give you a small gist, when we started manufacturing diamond processing machines, India was just 1% of the world's diamond processing hub, and it was all done manually. So when we created the technology that where the diamonds were being processed with machines, there were a lot of I would say havoc where manpower will reduce and the jobs will be taken away. But today, because of that, India is 95% of the world's diamond processing is happening in India, just because of the adoption of the technology. Even if you look at the computer revolution, which happened in if you know about Y2K, where there were computers getting deployed in the government offices where that there is going to be a shift happening. A lot of people will be going jobless. People have grown, the companies have grown, the country has grown. So I see that it has to be adopted, and with this new digitization approach, probably it is going to bring new challenges and new opportunities.
Right. Yeah. The next question is to Mr. Nitin. So, is 3D printing, is it available on digital twin?
Oh yes, it is available on digital twin. In fact, most of our CAD solutions that we have inside Siemens, be it Solid Edge, even Linux for the matter, we have a complete digital twin which we can do for 3D printing. We can replicate exactly how it's going to be printed. We can even replicate where all support is required. So we can easily replicate whatever is required before you go for production altogether. So that is possible inside the solutions that we have.
Okay. Yeah, there has been a lot of talk on digitalization and going towards the Industry 4.0 technologies adoption. So, but currently, is Indian infrastructure support that? Is it the right time to upgrade to those digitalization technologies in terms of many things, in terms of the infrastructure, machine infrastructure, software infrastructure, the skills, everything what we have currently available? So, is it the right time to go towards that? Anyone would like to answer?
So one thing I would just like to share that adoption of the technology, of course, it's an individual's decision. But just to give you a perspective that, when it comes to data or the internet, India is one of the world's most economical country for getting 1 GB data. If you talk about in any part of the world,
yes,
it's really expensive. So the kind of adoption what is going to happen in India is going to be far more comprehensive than any part of the world.
Okay. So, Mr. Nagesh, would you like to add anything? Is Indian industry still ready for that kind of upgradation?
Yeah, see, I think absolutely it is not ready because nothing was going to happen in 1 day or 1 month or 1 year.
Yeah.
It's, the journey has to begin. That's the point. So I think if you really go into depths of digitalization, what we just talked just for a few minutes here around it, I think if you really go into it, I don't think they have another choice. So there is, you can't, like what we just heard from Nitin, that we can't afford not to join in. So I think it's a matter of survival. There's no doubt about it. So I think it's not about, it's absolutely time.
Right.
It is time. It is time.
Right.
Just to add what Nagesh has said, it's the right time. I think preparedness for the future is very, very important, and Make in India and the way the things are improving now, I think with these technology, without cut down in the manpower, I think we can add top line more value, and we can also increase bottom line also. So with this digitization, I think preparedness for the future will happen, and this will drive the future.
Right, that's correct. Okay, thanks a lot to each one of you again for contributing your thoughts. And I really enjoyed interacting with you. It was quite a good discussion. And I'm sure, again, I'm saying the people who are listening to it, reviewing this session, they will have a lot of value taking it away from this conference. So thanks to each one of you, and over to you, Anvita.
Thank you everyone for that dynamic conversation. I'm sure the audience has learned a lot, and you guys put it out very rightly that digitalization is the future and collaboration is the need of the hour. At present, the flexibility it is extremely necessary for organizations to be flexible with digitalization coming in. So lastly, I would like to thank all our speakers and panelists who made time out for the event today. And I'm very sure that all the sessions were so insightful and on the industry progression that our audience has learned a lot just today. Before closing, I would like to thank Siemens Digital for their support and cooperation in making this event a success. And once again, thank you everyone. And I shall see you back here for the second part of this series in association with Siemens on 18th August 2020. We shall send you across the registration link soon. Thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And everybody on the panel. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.